What's happening, my friends? So we are here kicking off season 4 with my guy Thrash. And before I bring him into the whole deal, and before I kind of show you guys who he is and what he's about, I just want to let you know that this is one of the first guys that we had filming these properties here in Long Beach about 3-4 years ago. We started filming some stuff and bringing him in. He has done some incredible stuff here in the city of Los Angeles. So for the people that might not know you, Thrash, and kind of what you're about and where you're from and how you even got to LA, maybe kind of fill them in on your backstory a little bit.
Man, that's the thing. I feel like I've lived so many lives as a young guy, right? I'm only 33, but I feel like I've lived so many lives. But so originally, I'm from Georgia. I'm from a real small town in Georgia. So I didn't come from a place where I had a lot of access or a lot of inspirations and things like that. But sports was the way I ended up getting out. So I ended up having a football scholarship that took me to South Carolina. I spent a few years in South Carolina, ended up moving to LA 2012, I believe. I still really didn't have a vision, right? I just knew that I had a lot of different talents, and I knew that some way, somehow, I was gonna make something shake. So I've always been known for like dressing well, and that was just one of those things that just made sense to me. Like I said, I didn't really know anything about fashion. I had been exposed to fashion. It's just presenting myself well just always just made sense to me. So I got a lot of traction from that. I started modeling. A photographer I was working with, I used to like style my own photo shoots or whatever, just because that's just the way I dressed.
Sure.
So he started asking me, he was like, you think you could like help style these other guy models that I work with? And I kind of fought it at the time because I didn't know nothing about being a wardrobe stylist. And but so once I actually moved to LA, I was like, oh, there's a real market for this. Like, there's people who really need this.
They sure do.
Yeah, because as a kid growing up, we watch TV and we watch music videos, and we think that these celebrities, we want to dress like the celebrities. Well, what's really happening is the stylists are the ones who really have the style.
That's right.
And so I started learning that type of stuff. So I started out as a stylist here in LA, and that was going well for me. But I got kind of tired of it. I got tired of ripping and running, man. Like at the end of the day, I was a businessman at heart, and I was just like, yeah, it's too much ripping and running and dealing with egos of celebrities and all that kind of stuff. So what I decided to do was I opened up a showroom where I started renting wardrobe to stylists. So I was like, no, I'm gonna facilitate the wardrobe instead of me doing all the legwork. So I did that for a little while, and during that time, I started making my own suits. And because I've always been into suits, I started out like thrifting clothes and stuff because I couldn't afford like really, you know what I'm saying, nice, you know what I'm saying, clothes. So I would thrift stuff, and then I go take it to a tailor, get it retailored to where it fit me good. And I got a lot of traction that way, and that's kind of how I got my name, you know what I'm saying, started in the fashion industry. And so when I started making my own suits, I already kind of had built-in clientele in a way from just all of the people that I had been working with, styling wise and things. And one of my friends, he was on a big show called Dynasty, and I ran into him one day in downtown LA, and I had this like green double-breasted suit on, and he's Nigerian.
That's a sick suit. I've seen it. It's
yeah,
great. That thing's fire.
Yeah, so he was like, he's Nigerian, and on the show he's like really, I was in high fashion. He wears a lot of suits, and he was like, bro, where'd you get that suit from? I need that show. I need that suit for the show. And I was like, well, actually, I made it. Yeah. So he was like, word? He's like, can you make me one? I was like, I mean, yeah. So that was my first suit sale. And I think the show ended up ordering like 4 more suits from me, you know what I'm saying, for that same season. And I was like, bro, I just made so much money off of something that was so easy. Like, it was just something I was doing for myself. And so I was kind of getting bored with the showroom once this started. I'm sitting here, this damn near just feel like an office job, you know what I mean? Right. So I ended up closing the showroom, but I kept my space as my office. And I just went full steam ahead at fashion design. And now I'm 4 years in, and I'm dressing some of the biggest names in Hollywood for the biggest award shows and things. And yeah, man, it's going pretty well for me.
Dude, it's been so fun for me to watch your journey. I mean, and like, this man's style is off the charts. And if you like are just like listening to this podcast somewhere in the world, go follow him on Instagram and look at his stuff. But I mean, it's this cool story of how like your like life's passion, right? All this stuff and fashion in LA, like it all kind of came together. And now it's working. It's working. And dude, I'm sure it was rough in the beginning.
Yeah.
All those long days, scissors and cutting and sewing and moving stuff and tailor. But like, you did it. Like all through the stuff, all through all the COVID drama. Yeah. No one wants to even be around anybody. That's a big part of your business, right? It's like, right. It's like it's a belly to belly business.
Would you believe it though? Like as soon as things like slightly opened up, I took off again. It's just like people were just waiting. Like they were waiting to come out the house, and they was like, "Thrash, I need to get right."
Well, it's because, dude, here's what happened in COVID. You either got in really good shape and you were shredded and you wanted to show the world, like, here I am again, or you got a little husky, got a little heavy, and you're like, I need to get into a program so then I can actually work out again. But there was so many people, they hadn't seen people in a long time, right? So they're like, they needed you, especially like the high-end celebrities, right? Yeah. So, dude, it was crazy for me to watch all this stuff. And then, like, I've always loved your showroom. And so, like, we shot a really cool piece there years ago. And just the vibe in the building, and you walk into your space, and you, like, it's this feeling you get, like, this man knows what he's doing. Yeah. Like, there's, like, the first time I met you was at, like some party with Dave or something. But as soon as you walked in, I was like, that dude knows what he's doing. Like there's no like hiding it. Yeah. And there's this like crazy draw. So it made sense for me. I was like, of course he's going to blow up, right? It just made sense. And you live every day your brand. You live every day your business.
Exactly.
And that's what it takes. Whatever you're doing, right? You got to live that shit every day.
Exactly.
Like there's not a person that kind of knows me that doesn't know that I do real estate. Like, I mean, everybody. Yeah. I try to make that as like well known as humanly possible. You literally walk into a party, that dude's in fashion. There's no hiding it. Right? But it's dope though. And it's a great way for you to kind of be a billboard and the mouthpiece for your brand with something that you love. Like I love real estate. I'll talk about it all day. Yeah. Right? Same thing with you with this and fashion. Yeah. And now like you have this platform and this brand and you're around people. So like it makes sense for you to maybe like start to do some real estate, start to do some real estate investing, start to put people together. That's how we scaled our entire syndication business. Is there was a lot of really wealthy people that knew what I did, and they're like, how do I place my money with you? And then we just started. Because here's the thing with business is you need to be around people that have money.
Right.
I don't care if you're selling watches. I don't care if you're selling real estate, clothes, fashion. You got to be around people.
Yeah, and that was one of my things. So like when I was actually really struggling, I remember at one point I was thinking about, because I've never had like a regular job, right?
Right.
And I was thinking one day I was just kind of like down on myself, and I was just like, damn, should I actually go like get a fucking job? And then I started thinking like, okay, if Thrash was to work a job, what type of job would I work? And I was like, if I'm going to work a job, I'm going to work something in a high-end luxury space. So if I'm going to be a car salesman, I'm going to go sell Ferraris and Lamborghinis and Rolls Royces. You know what I mean?
100%.
If I'm going to do real estate, I want to sell $1 million houses. If I'm going to do fashion, I want to sell $4,000 suits, not $100 suits. You know what I mean? So that's kind of always been my insight on things. You know what I'm saying? It's just, and if you present yourself a certain way, people have no choice but to accept you that way. So it's like, I've never come in at a lower level. I've always come in like, no, you're going to respect me here. And this is how you have to, you know what I'm saying? This is how you have to deal with me. And once you set that bar, people, they have no choice but to, you know what I'm saying, put to meet you there.
It's the craziest shit. And you hit the nail on the head where they will meet you where you see yourself. So many people miss that because of whatever issues or self-conscious or whatever. But like, they will meet you where you're putting yourself out. It was the same thing with me. I was in school to get my license for real estate, right? There was this funny lady. She's like, "You're doing these, it was like some kind of fake contract, right? For like school and training, whatever." She's like, "You're doing these deals for cash," and I go, "Yeah, because that's who I'm going to go work with. I'm going to work with cash investors." And she goes, "That's not how it works." And I go, "No, that's not how you work. This is how I work." And she goes, "You have to be in the business for 6 or 10 years. And then you get it." I go, "Nope." I go, "I'm going to go work with investors as soon as I get my license." Right. She said, "Good luck." I did 86 deals my first year with my license. 84 of them are with investors.
Wow.
All cash. But it's like, it's where you see yourself is where everybody else is going to see you too. Sometimes it's not the truth because you're like completely broke inside and you're hurting. Yeah. But dude, if you show up here, that's where they'll meet you.
Exactly. Like when I was first getting started, I slept on couches for almost 5 years living in LA. Slept on couches.
That's the LA story.
No one ever knew it though, because I was dressed well. Yep. I was always well groomed. I know how to speak well. No one ever knew it. Not that I was trying to hide it, because I'm very I'm very candid about who I am and what I do.
Yeah.
But it's just I operate at a certain level, and you have to treat me so. Yeah.
Dude, I love that. Well, and there's this thing that you can never take from you because you were on those couches. There's this grind mentality.
Right.
And where everybody really, really fucks up is when they get to a place like where you're at, they know a lot of like very, very famous people, and they're going to these parties and everything. And it's like, oh, I'm here now. And like, and then their business will take a dip, and then that's when stuff starts to unravel. You can't take that hustle from me. I remember being really poor with my mom trying to figure out how we're going to eat. Like, that's never leaving me.
Have you ever watched a show called Undercover Billionaire?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The truth. Like, I just recently discovered a few months ago, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and that changed my life and shifted everything for me. And it's like, but it's something I really resonated with, because, like, no matter what status I'm at, it's like, I still understand. Like, I'm not afraid to go back and do the dirty work if I have to get to the next level. I'm not afraid to do that, and that's what it takes if you really want to be successful. Not thinking that, okay, I have to just maintain whatever this is, whatever. It ain't like that. It's like, no, I'll do whatever it takes to get to whatever that next level looks like for me.
It's perspective.
Yeah.
Like, no one can take the fact that if they took every piece of clothing from you, there was a huge fire or something, you lost it all, 6 months.
I know how to make it back. I know how to get it back.
Right?
Yep.
Dude, I always get goosebumps because that feels, for me, the best. You could take my whole portfolio away. Yes, it would sting, but guess what? I'm working twice as hard.
In reality, I've had it happen.
Totally.
I've had it happen.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing about it for me, is like, I have zero worries when something like this happened. And I don't trip because I know that I can make it back. And it's like, it almost gets me excited because it gives me a chance to prove that I can do it all over again.
Dude, well said.
Yeah.
It's that whole thing with, like, if you teach a man to fish, right, they'll never go hungry.
Yep.
And that's such a great feeling to know, like, okay, I'm hungry right now. I could throw my pole out to this huge world of real estate. I'm going to start fishing.
Yeah.
And at some point, I'm going to hit, then I'm going to hit again, and then I'm going to have a fish market. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just, like, again, man, it's perspective. And there's so many people that I don't jam with, and there's people that I really jam with, and it's usually the people that, like, struggled coming up, they're grinders, or they were actually raised poor, or they came to this country with $20, you know, because you can't take that from them. You cannot remove that from their soul.
Man, I'll tell you one thing. Actually, Dave kind of brought this to my understanding, and he was like, Thrash, you really have to understand, like, where your true influence is at, right? To be able to, like, maximize things. And when he broke it down, I was like, dang, you're right. Because I was looking at things from one perspective, but I'm not realizing, like, how much further of a reach that I have because of the people that I'm surrounded by, you know what I'm saying? The people I'm surrounded by, like, the places that I can, you know what I'm saying, exist in. And that kind of shifted the way I started looking at things. So it's like now, like saying now with me going into real estate, it's because I have the clientele for that. I have the clientele. I have the knowledge. I've been in this luxury space to where I can talk the talk, and people trust my opinion. People,
for years.
Yeah, people trust my taste level. So it makes sense for me to go into deal in luxury real estate. I deal in high-end art as well. A lot of people don't even know that. My very first deal, I sold over $130,000 worth of art. My first deal. And that's because I know the right people in the right space, and they trust my opinion, they trust my taste level.
Dude, it's a perfect fit. It's a perfect progression. Fashion, art, right? Like high-end luxury real estate. That is your brand in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Like you get dressed at your home. It's a very like special thing to like be in someone's closet where they get dressed in their room and style them so they go out to the world. I mean, that whole experience is your brand.
Yeah, and when you like kind of what you spoke on earlier is like, for me, everything has to make sense. It's a lifestyle.
That's right.
It's a lifestyle brand. So from the type of car that I drive, Like, when you see Thrash, what do you expect? What do you expect me to drive?
I expect
What do
you to see that sick, ridiculous El Camino you pull up in.
Yeah. What do you expect my place where I live at to look like? What do you expect my office to look like? Where do you expect to see me hanging out at? You know what I'm saying? Like, all of those things have to make sense for people to buy into the brand.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And I learned that from Ralph Lauren.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, he, like you, lived it, breathed it, no matter what, and went for decades. And that's how you build. And speaking of shout outs to David Hill, who's a dear friend
Big
of ours.
facts. Yeah.
Like such an incredible human. He's got to be on the show. I've been trying to get Dave on the show for damn near 5 years now. That dude does not like the camera. But hey, you're coming on, Dave, whether you wanted to or not.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So, but like, there's a very specific thing when it comes to brand, right? And brand's a big thing now, right? Everybody's like, you got to have a personal brand. You got to do this. But you have to have a real personal brand.
Yeah.
It needs to be personal to you.
Yeah.
Like, and I could probably pull it off after a few years, but if everywhere that I went, I was styled like you and your brand, it would take people a minute to figure it out, right? That's always been you.
Yeah. Like, it's to the point now I can wear T-shirt and some black jeans, and it's like, dang, Thrash, you be so fly. It's like, bro, I got on the same thing you got on. It's ingrained in your head to view me a certain way.
Style and you like go hand in hand, and that is the best marketing. That is the best branding there is when you live your brand, when you live what you care about. And for me, I want to help more people. Like, I really help. I love helping families. I love helping investors. I love helping agents. Like, I really give a shit, and I pour all myself into it, and you can tell.
Yeah.
So for me, it's the same. And there's a lot of people now, especially with social media and like all these cars that are rented, and they're trying to flex this lifestyle that's not theirs.
Right.
Dude, people are smart, man. You can tell, right? I could be on someone's Instagram feed for 9 seconds and know if you're real or you're a poser.
You can tell if it's real or not. Yeah.
Right. Because they're trying to force something. Even it's like the way they speak, the words they choose to use. I can tell, like, you were just at a seminar, bro. Like, you don't, that's not you. Like, you don't, like, there's no passion behind the words that you're using. And you can tell this is all energy, right? You and I right now are sharing energy. Like, you can tell, and people forget that when they're scrolling through Instagram, man, you're not fooling anybody. Right. And you're definitely not fooling people at the top.
Right. Definitely not those.
You might fool like a couple people, but like, you're not going to call you if you're not at a certain level.
Right.
Right.
And that's a big part of it. Is like, you have to set that standard so people won't even waste your time. If they know you operate at a certain level, it's like, well, let me not call him till I make sure I got my shit together.
You get rid of all the no's quickly.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing about social media, the podcast, YouTube. If you don't like my jam, like, you'll know and I'll know.
Yeah.
Because you won't set the meeting.
Yeah.
But if you do and you call me, hey, love your stuff on YouTube, I'm 97% there. Right?
Yeah.
Because you've taken the time to consume my content, what I'm about. You got a pretty good idea. Some people, though, have no idea, and they thought I had this huge ego and all this other stuff, and then they sit with me and they're like, that was not who I thought. Or if people are like, you're the exact same in person.
Right.
All of it works because I'm just me all the time. Like, that's it. And you came to the office, right? And you're kind of sitting there working, doing some stuff. And there was a lady that came in who I'd never met. She was having some problems with her house and probate. Like, I'm going to like really help her and her family. I just met her this morning, but like, I really care about what I do. And it's so apparent that you do as well. And so maybe kind of walk us through what the past, 2 years have looked like. And like, dude, all the award shows and Oscars and the Grammys and just, your brand has exploded, my friend.
Yeah, man. Trying to think if that was ever like an actual shift, man. I like to think that I'm just consistent, man. I stay locked in and I stay consistent. I recently just did the Emmys with Tyler James Williams from the show Abbott Elementary. His outfit was a really big moment for both of us. I actually forced myself to step out of my comfort zone of like the way I design and did something that I'm not really known for, and it was received well. And that's what I'm saying. I love taking a client like that who trusts me. He was like, Thrash, the types of reactions that I'm getting now from like things that I'm wearing by you, I don't question anything you say anymore. He's like,
because you earned it.
yeah, and so in that, and like I said, that's what I love. I love giving people that extra confidence that they may not have had, because it's like, oh wow, it's like there's a whole other market that I can tap into now. So like now we're really pushing him to be like a fashion figure now. You know what I'm saying, in Hollywood. So I love to be a part of that.
That's so cool.
I love seeing it. From Cedric the Entertainer when he hosted the Emmys last year. Eric Andre for everything he's doing with the Sing 2 premieres and The Lion King and all of these things. Like, man, these are things I like grew up with as a kid, and it's like now I'm able to be a part of these things. Like Cedric the Entertainer, like me and my dad.
Dude, he's a legend.
Watching, you know what I'm saying, watching him as a kid, and now this is a friend. Actually, we met over our cars. Going back to what I was saying, it's like I really live this life. Yep. So when me and Ced met, we bonded over our love for classic cars. That developed a genuine relationship. You know what I mean? Because it was real. Because
you were being you, yeah. He was being him, exactly. And you guys connected.
Exactly, man. So
there's no faking that.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. So like, man, things have just been going well. Like I said, just everything just happening the way it's supposed to happen, man. I don't believe in forcing anything. I believe everything's about timing. And if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing at the right time, then
it'll work.
It'll work. That's why, like, when I was sleeping in those couches for 5 years, I never stressed, bro, because I just knew. I knew that I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and whenever it's the right timing, I'll be there and I'll be ready and I'll be equipped. Because there's a lot of opportunity that I receive now that 5 years ago I wouldn't have known what to do with that.
100%, man.
I wouldn't even know what to do with some of these opportunities that come to me now. But I had to go through what I went through to be prepared for it now.
And like the timing piece, man, you hit the nail on the head. And it's so crazy for me to kind of sit back and watch, but that's such a similar thread to like the super successful. Like, it's like, look, I had to go through this to prepare myself for this. If I hadn't have gone through this, I wouldn't have even known what to do with this.
Exactly.
Like
I think about it every time.
It's that divine guidance, right?
Yeah, it's like every time it happens to me, and I'm like, you know what, I can handle this, or I have the resources to do it. And I was like, dang, man, I was begging for this type of stuff years ago. And I'm like, well, years ago, you wouldn't have knew what to do. You would have probably dropped the ball. Yeah, you would have dropped the ball, and your reputation would have been tarnished. And that's the biggest thing. It takes you a lifetime to build a reputation, like a good one. It'll take you 2 minutes to lose it. Exactly. I think about that a lot. Exactly. It's really important for me to be like, if you call me, like, I mean, I take my job very, very seriously. Mm-hmm. And like you do too, yeah, but your reputation. There's a reason I call you. Right. And dude, and I greatly appreciate that. And I love the fact, here's my goal in life, right? For business. It's if you think about real estate, you think about a landlord, you think about a commercial, anything that has to do with the space of real estate, as soon as that thought hits your brain, my face appears. Mm-hmm. That's what I want. I want you to be like, real estate, I don't know, call Andy. Yeah. Even when I meet people, so my son just had to go to a birthday party for one of the kids that he goes to school with, and his dad is a real estate agent. And so he brings it up, and he's like trying to. I can tell he's trying to like game me, kind of feel me out. Of course. And anytime anyone mentions anything about real estate, I'm like, hey, you know my boy Andy, though. You know what I mean? So I just gotta let him know, and it's like, yeah, I value what we have, and you know what I'm saying, your knowledge of what you do for a living. And I don't feel the need to skew outside of that, because I trust that whatever I bring to you, you're going to know how to handle it, how to facilitate it, and point me in the right direction. So, yeah. Dude, I greatly appreciate it, man. And it's like the same thing with me. It's like, and so like he mentioned this incredible green suit earlier. The first time I saw that, and I was just like, it's literally like one of my favorite colors. I'm like, I need to get a suit. Probably like once a year, I'll literally shoot him a text. I got to get that suit. And then I drop the ball. He'll follow up a couple times. Today, I'm putting it out to the world so I can be held accountable. I am buying one of his unbelievable custom suits because I need one, and I'm going to bring him in. And if you guys see like a tweak in my style, you know why. You know why Thrash is involved. No way. We're going to document it. We're going to document the process. Oh, that'd be cool. Perfect. Yeah. The process. Yeah. Dude, I'm all about that. And if you guys want to like follow this guy or reach out, where can these people find you? He's got this incredible depth of knowledge in the whole fashion world. So where can these people follow you? One, but then two, I got a lot of clients that follow us. They rock suits all the time. How do they find you? Well, you check out my website. It's thrashbespoke.com. And then on social media, my personal is StayFlyThrash. And the brand page is Thrash Bespoke as well.
Follow this guy for all of his stuff, his red carpet, all the stuff you're doing. Man, I'm so proud of you. And it's been fun for me to watch the journey. And then we're going to bring him into the real estate space. So we're going to see a lot more Thrash here, especially in the luxury zone up in LA. We're probably going to be launching a team up there. I think Thrash might be a part of that team up in LA. So stay tuned, my friends.
Yep.
Thanks, brother.